The drill is not the application. Do not try to get good at the drill. This is such a huge problem in FMA, especially within systems that don't have a robust, standardized, and well-established format for application, specifically sparring and competition. Systems who don't compete, who don't welcome competition, and who don't invite outsiders to participate in their training are doomed. They actually end up culling the cultivation of fighters, explorers, and ronins willing to travel and compete in the open market. In these systems, the drill becomes the final destination, and so the propensity to get really good at the drill is extraordinarily high. This pitfall is so deceiving that I see even the highest ranking instructors fall into it, and because of ego and institutional inertia, it becomes almost impossible to crawl their way out. It is critically important to seek knowledge outside of FMA to gain a broader and balanced perspective on how to actually train FMA, unless, of course, your sole intention is to train an art form or to preserve the old ways of a system. While I understand the value of sticking to one system, the risk of being swept up by tribal rules and norms is way too high for me to accept, and there is little sense in giving one system loyalty when it isn't reciprocated. There is a difference between loyalty and enslavement. One can both be loyal and free, but one cannot be free and enslaved. If you find yourself having to seek approval to expand your training influences, you aren't free. Letting your grandmaster know you're attending a seminar from another system isn't the same as asking for permission. Here's an analogy. When a basketball player wants to improve their shooting accuracy, they shoot basketballs into a net. They don't throw baseballs into buckets in order to develop the attribute of precision or accuracy. They do the thing to get better at the thing. That's how shooters become better shooters. When they want to become better basketball players, they incorporate defensive players who try to stop them from accomplishing their goals within the standardized rule sets of the sport. Now, I know what you're thinking, FMA isn't a sport. Well, that's mostly true, just as the UFC isn't a street fight. But if you had to place a bet on who would win a deadly force street altercation, I'll place my bet on the MMA fighter who's trained to hit a moving target with her hands and feet instead of the martial artist who does nothing but karate, katas, and forms. Flow drills, katas, anyos, sayaos, they all have their value, but none of them are considered specificity training, which dictates that to get good at a thing, you must do that thing specifically. So if your flow drills don't look like fights, you ain't getting better at fighting. You might be developing attributes, which is also super important. But remember this, a basketball player who tosses baseballs in a bucket isn't getting any better at being a basketball player. Now, this is a very long post to simply suggest that as an FMA practitioner, and more importantly, as an FMA instructor, you should be sparring. You should be failing and making mistakes. The best basketball players in the world with the highest shooting percentage still miss a lot. That's how they learn how to miss less. And finally, if you're an FMA student who belongs to a system with no honest form of testing, I suggest you complement your training by studying with other groups who do. And if you're denied this right, if you sense you're being punished for wanting what's best for you, well, I would suggest that it's time for you to move on. Guys, I hope you enjoy this little rant. It's not really a rant. This is something that I think about constantly, and I hope that I've expressed it well enough in this video. If you like what I had to say, please make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Make sure to hit that like button so that the YouTube algorithm knows that you're a Filipino martial artist. This is a Filipino martial arts channel, and they'll begin to spread the word. So I just want to say I don't mean to offend anyone, any instructor, any system. I think that sometimes when we hear these truths, that there is a likelihood that we look internally, we become insulted and offended, and we reject the message or the messenger. I get that as well. And that is a detriment. That is not a good thing to do to oneself. That is not a good thing to want for one's system. So if I've made any sense here, or if you disagree with me, or if I've missed something that you feel is critically important, I welcome you to get on your keyboard, leave me a comment, and let's continue to have this discussion together. My name is Paulo Rubio, aka GN. Thank you guys very much for watching FMA Source. Peace.